Back here on the Marauders pregame show, talking with the University of Mary head women's basketball coach Rick Newman here at the NSIC Tournament Championship game. First time in program history. We talked a long time about expectations for this season, all throughout last spring, last summer. This was it, right? You expected to be here?
Absolutely. I think we believed we could get to this game. After last night, we knew we belonged in this game, and now tonight we've got to deserve the opportunity to win this game. But really proud of our team. You know, a little shaky start at the beginning of the year with all these new pieces and playing in different spots and different things, but we've really been cooking and been playing our best basketball down the stretch, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of.
All right, let's look at the start of this basketball game. You guys spent a lot of energy and a lot of emotion in last night's win over Minnesota Duluth. A lot of energy in this building with Minnesota State's men's team just winning the championship. I got to think the Mavericks come out guns blazing today. How do you feel about the first few minutes?
Yeah, for sure. I actually like the fact that it's going to feel like a real road game with them having fans staying for back-to-back games, their bands here. I just think we thrive in that environment, right? Like, we've been great on the road all year, so I think that's a good sign for us. We talked today about making sure that against a team like Mankato in a championship game, the idea of just weathering the first storm or taking the first punch, that doesn't count. We were going to deliver that one. We're going to be the storm tonight. So I think our girls are ready for that, and we expect to be in a very competitive basketball game all the way to the end.
We talk every single time we play this Minnesota State team, turnovers, and same as always, right? Not all turnovers are created equal, but how about on top of that, let's not do 2, 3, 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, that was the difference in our game at home. You know, I mean, it was tied going into the fourth quarter. We had a lead, but there was a segment in the second and the fourth quarter where we went turnover, and they scored a few on those. And so that's always a big emphasis. It was again this morning in our prep, was just sometimes, you know, take the 10 count if it's getting crazy, throw it all the way to the other end, a jump ball to our bigs and see what happens. But, you know, you can't just give them easy runouts because we can really defend, but nobody can defend breakaway layups. So I think if we can do that and keep the score down, we're going to score on them. Everybody has this tournament, and we have as well scored very well in this tournament. So I feel good about that if our defense comes to play today and we make them make shots.
When we talk about your defense so long this season, we talked about playing defense without fouling, right? And Minnesota State's season high was 40 free throw attempts against you guys. So many of those came in the fourth quarter of that basketball game, but how good do you need to be? Because it's a frustrating game, right? How do you just stay away from those frustrating ones today? Yeah,
I mean, you just have to keep your composure the best that you can and try do the best job to not let them speed you up on both ends. I mean, that's part of our plan defensively is, you know, we're gonna give some help to their big three off of their post players. And so to make sure that we're in those positions instead of chasing those post players around too, and then all of a sudden a Joey Bat, Destiny Bursch gets free to the rim, right? So it's on both ends of the floor. But, you know, I think it's just one of those nights where you come in and you hope that the whistle is consistent and you hope that, you know, maybe it goes in your favor. But it's hard because that's something you can't really control. But in all honesty, when you play them because of their physical style of play and just pushing the envelope on physicality, I'm not going to lie, like, you need a good whistle. And if you don't and you're not ready for it, it can get out of hand in a hurry, right? And it has for many teams in our league, right, in the last few years. So I do think that's a part of the game, but I don't think it's the deciding factor. I think it's how UMary guards and if UMary puts the ball in the hoop tonight.
You mentioned Joey Bat, obviously a terrific scorer for their basketball team. Destiny Bursch can do a lot for their basketball team. Natalie Bramer, she's been scoring a ton for their basketball team as well. She scored 30 on you guys in this building last year in the quarterfinals. With all those names, I mean, what are you specifically able to do game plan-wise when they can throw a few different ways at you?
Yeah, thanks for that reminder. Yeah, she's really talented. Our girls know that, too. I mean, that's what I love about our girls is, you know, when they get a scout, like, they know game. Game recognizes game, right? And they know that Bremer is really good. And so, you know, tonight we're going a little different matchup. We're putting Zan on her to start instead of Riley, putting Riley on Bursch just to try to get some physicality on Bursch and then put our best defender on their best offensive player. That's what Zan's been doing for the better part of the year. So we're going to give her that assignment tonight. And I think there's some real keys for us about the handedness of their players. You know, like Joey Bat's left-handed, loves to go left. So we're going to try to force her right. Everyone else really loves to go right. So we're going to try to force them left. And that might look a little different than our base defense because we're definitely a no baseline team, but we emphasized this morning that hand dominance over baseline position is the most important thing tonight, because we know we're going to have our bigs just trying to clog up the paint and challenging people around the rim. So, it's a fun chess match. We've got a few new wrinkles from when we played them. Looked at our film. I didn't watch our film because I was disgusted at the fouls in the fourth quarter. And I know we wouldn't play them again until this game. So we moved on, right? We're excited about how hard we competed that day and knew that we could play with them. And so what we've tried to do in 24 hours since we knew we were going to face them was to go from knowing we can play with them to knowing we can win to knowing we will win. And that's where our preparation needs to be, and the mindset of our girls right now going into this game is that knowing that we will win.
You have the NSIC's Player of the Year, and Lexi Schneider has just been on another level here the last several games for your basketball team, scoring and rebounding. How do you get her enough time so she can be patient, get those easier buckets?
Well, that's another new wrinkle for us. We moved where she's going to play tonight a little bit. We talked, one of our tried and true rules against them was always ball gets to the corner, come across and post. Well, you and I both know Lexi is not a girl that just camps right under the hoop, right? So she likes to come out into that short corner, or if she faces physicality, she'll get pushed off the block. But it's not a problem because she can turn and face, or she can go 2-3 bounces and get to that right shoulder. Well, you're not going to get that against Mankato. They're coming right now. So we're going to try to play her a little bit more at the high post where she can face and go downhill with that great one dribble, long strides. I think that's going to draw some contact. And then we also talked about, just trying to post a little bit more in the lane so that you can catch it and turn without a dribble. Now, that's asking a lot in 20 hours, I know, but she's the Player of the Year for a reason. And, if she can do those things, she's going to find herself getting easier baskets than she normally does against these guys.
Last 2 years against this basketball team, you played them 3 times, and we've talked about, it was a close game in the fourth quarter. How do you get your team into that fourth quarter, enough gas left in the tank, and finish it this time?
Well, hopefully the adrenaline of being in the Northern Sun Championship for the first time will be enough to have that happen for us and push us over the top when we need it, right? And, we are a little bit deeper this year. We've played more players. If Mariah is cooking tonight, she might be in there 40 minutes because she handled Joy Bat really well the first time, just didn't make a lot of shots, right? So we feel comfortable about our ball handling against them. In the potential win and in or win and go home scenario, you got to dance with who brung you. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And if we need a timeout or two, we're going to take that. We hope that we can make some subs on free throw situations to kind of slow them a little bit, as well as give some of our girls a little quicker extra break. So, Jesse, we've got about 4 or 5 things that we're going to try tonight to make sure that the tempo stays in our favor. We're not afraid of playing fast, so I think that's okay too. Like, we're all right with that, but it's a physical grind, and it's almost more of a mental challenge because you just know you're going to get bumped and bodied and banged around, and you're just not going to get every whistle. And it's frustrating and it's annoying, but you got to play through it. Credit to them. We always said you got to be first, best, or different when you're coaching and when you're getting in the program going, and they've chosen to be radically different. And it's worked, and the rest of us are trying to catch up with how we recruit and get more handlers on the floor. So credit to them for the style they play, but it's definitely right on the edge of, okay, here we go. And so I think, like I said, the mental challenge is probably greater than the physical tonight.
Rick, thanks so much. Go win a trophy tonight.
Hey, Jesse, it's been such a pleasure being with you. We'll talk after the game again, but thanks so much for all the help that you've given us with your numbers and your insight. And our players love you. I love you. The university appreciates it. All our fans do. So you're number one in the business, man.
Head coach Rick Newman for the University of Mary women's basketball team before tip-off of the NSIC tournament championship game. Marauders, the 2 seed in this tournament, taking on the 1 seed in this tournament in Minnesota State. We talked about it. The Player of the Year is on the University of Mary side, and head coach Rick Newman said it after last night's win in the Northern Sun press conference post game. There's been a lot of games lately where we have Lexi Schneider and they don't. Over the last 6 games, Lexi Schneider's averaging almost 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and a combination of steals and blocks better than 2 per game, making 57% of her shots. Player of the Year for a reason is Lexi Schneider, and the Marauders need her to get some buckets here tonight. She is on the brink of the highest scoring season in University of Mary women's basketball program history. She needs 10 points to pass Sarah Lear, who is third for the most points scored in a single season, and then 11 points would pass Brittany Dietz in her scoring output. The all-time leading scorer back in 2015-2016, Lexi Schneider's within 30 points of the highest scoring season in history for University of Mary women's basketball. It's held by Cassie Askvig, her former teammate who did it in the 2019-20 season. Well, she needs her teammates, too, to step up here today for the University of Mary. Mariah McKeever finally got a groove going. She scored 9 points in the second quarter yesterday. She ended up with 21 for the basketball game in the semifinal win over Minnesota Duluth. And how about this tournament for Megan Zander? She's now made 7 threes. She had the dagger in last night's win in the fourth quarter. A block of Tatum Rhodes with less than 3 minutes left came down, got the ball from Mariah McKeever, and buried a three from the left wing to extend the lead to 6. And the Bulldogs couldn't come any closer. The Marauders were able to take down the 3-time defending champs in Minnesota Duluth, keep them out of this NSIC tournament championship game for the 6th consecutive year. And so it sets up a meeting where the University of Mary or Minnesota State will win their first ever NSIC tournament title on the women's side here at the Sanford Pentagon. Megan Zander came into this tournament not so hot. She, over the last 6 games, starting with that last loss to St. Cloud State of the regular season, Megan Zander was shooting just about 22% from beyond the arc. She had 7 made threes in those last 6 games. Well, in 2 games here at the Pentagon, she's made 7 threes. She had 28 points in the quarterfinals. It's against St. Cloud State. That tied a career high. She had 20 points last night in the semifinals against Minnesota Duluth to follow it up. And she has the Marauders here in the NSIC tournament championship game against Minnesota State. I know she and her teammates have really wanted to see this Minnesota State team once again, and they want to come out on top this time and win a trophy on top of it. Today's game sponsored by Jobbers Moving and Storage. They focus on the details of the process without ever losing sight of the big picture with their efficient step-by-step approach to move management, keeping everyone on the same page. It includes comprehensive service, so proactive checks, double checks, and ongoing communications that ensure attention to all details every step of the way, with locations in Bismarck, Minot, Fargo, and Aberdeen. Find them online at jobberswarehouse.com. We're going to step aside once again, and we will hear from the big three. Mariah McKeever, Lexi Schneider, Megan Zander, the 3 leading scorers for the University of Mary women's basketball team. They're coming up after this on your home for Marauders basketball.